Was booming.
And the award for Best Newcomer goes to Mr. Dirk Diggler.
Wow.
Goodbye, 1979. Hello, 1980. Are you ready?
But in 1980,
Come on, you puppies!
the party was over.
You are fired! What? You're fired!
It's jealousy, it's deceitfulness, it's vindictiveness, but I mean, God, what can you expect when you're on top?
Oh, wait. Not this part.
New Line Cinema presents a portrait of 2 decades in the life of a business, the days of a dreamer, and the nights in between. Boogie Nights.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
Hello, I'm David Whiting.
And today is our second Paul Thomas Anderson outing.
Yes.
And it is David's second, or what are we saying, second and a half?
Yeah, we'll call it that
We'll call it
at
second
the
and
very
a half.
least.
Second and a half Paul Thomas Anderson movie. This is Boogie Nights. This currently resides at number 5 on my
In your top movies of all time.
in my top movies of all time. These are not the best movies of all time. These are my
Your
favorites.
favorites. Yes.
Yes. And then when I just go off, I just go off movies that I find eminently rewatchable, movies that I have a great time rewatching, movies that I know back and forth more or less, movies where my big thing is every time it cuts to the next scene, I go, oh yeah, it's this great scene.
Yeah. Where there's never a scene where it's like, oh God, okay, now we got to sit through this.
Yeah.
No, it's a fantastically made piece of cinema. It's got great pacing. The performances are stellar. I don't see how you can watch this movie more than once without being like, okay, and now I'm exhausted and want to sleep for the next 3 days.
I honestly, with your reaction to this, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do with Magnolia. You know that Magnolia is 3 hours long.
Yeah, I know Magnolia is 3 hours long. Hence the reason I watched the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
You know that there's like, you know, all the fun stuff in this and like the first fun 40 minutes and all that sort of stuff. There's none of that in Magnolia.
There's none of that. It's Magnolia truly is going to be just misery for 3 hours.
Yeah, absolute knockout. And there are times where I prefer Magnolia to Boogie Nights, but that's because I'm a sadist.
Yeah, that checks out.
You asked me when did I first see Magnolia, and I've been trying to pin down in my head, but I don't know. I should have had a letterbox my entire life. That would have been good. I still don't have letterbox now. Do you have letterbox, David?
Can't say that I do now.
Yeah.
Letterbox.
It's like an app where you watch your movies and all that sort of thing, and you catalog. You don't watch. You don't watch enough movies, do you?
That's the thing. I'm not
app.
sitting down regularly enough to watch a movie to like log what I've been watching. You know.
Whereas weirdos like me, I believe Boogie Nights will have been my first Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Definitely, and as it was for many people in the time of release. Yeah, no, it was that was definitely the first. Then how
does it compare for you to Hard 8?
I think it's like a very, very clear jump. To me, this feels like, oh, we've given him more budget. I mean, this actually makes money, of course.
It's clearly like a higher budget and everything. They've got
15 million budget, makes 43.1. It just to me feels like a very clear big second movie, more money, and then Magnolia feels very clearly like give him even more money.
Yeah.
And then Magnolia is this huge, incredible mess that maybe works, maybe doesn't work. For those it does work, it's like it's God tier. And for those it doesn't, I literally, multiple people have had the conversation with me of, what? you've seen, yeah. A, you've seen Magnolia more than once, and B, what the fuck? Well, I don't want to give it away. As we know, you haven't seen the final half an hour of Magnolia, which I'm fascinated to hear what you think. Did you know anything about Boogie Nights, David? Did you know it was this chronicle of the porn industry? Did you know anybody who was in it?
Didn't know a thing going in. You had told me a little bit about the cast the night before. It's a hell of a cast. I mean, I do love John C. Reilly and anything that he does. I'd say some of my favorite scenes in this movie were Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah, fantastic cast. But no, didn't know a thing about this movie going in.
And now, I mean, you've sort of let it slide. You've let it out. Your initial reaction. Peek behind the curtain. We literally just finished watching this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, initial reactions. So, like I said, fantastically made movie, glorious performances from the whole cast. Really, really well done. 2.5 hours of unabated misery. Even the high moments, it's a fantastic rise and fall movie.
I was interested by what you were saying about that you're not a huge rise and fall movie person. They exhaust you.
Yeah, they're exhausting. They're exhausting for me to watch. They can be, anyways.
I think specifically Coke movies. There's something about like Goodfellas, Casino, Wolf of Wall Street, and this. Well, like my good friend Ava Robinson, previous and future guest, The Irishman is not like this. I don't know if you watch The Irishman, but I don't think anybody does coke in The Irishman. And she describes Irishman as like this lovely warm blanket. And it's just like, I mean, obviously it's very sad as it goes on, but there is something about that. Again, I've never done cocaine, but the way that my people I know who have done coke talk about the coke hangover, and just like you feel like absolute shit and everything's so fast and then everything's so slow. Yeah. All of these movies give you a bit of a coke hangover because they are so excessive and speedy and rapid.
And that's what makes it fantastic, I think. It's very well crafted, and the evidence that it's a good movie is that I am so tired afterwards. Which is why I think people are shocked when you say, "Oh, I watched this to relax," or "This is my favorite movie to rewatch." It's like
it is a bit of a comfort film for me.
Yeah. I imagine once you've watched it enough times and you know where things are coming. Yeah. For me, as a first-time viewer, it was very effective movie because I felt absolutely swept up in this sort of quote-unquote glamour of the porn star lifestyle in the 70s and, Burt Reynolds' house and just the frenetic energy that builds up to the dramatic kind of twist. I'd
say from like going to Jack's house the first time up until like the second porn awards, that's just like my happy place.
Oh yeah, it's just shots of partying in the 70s. Yeah, it's great.
And then I would say the final 10 minutes as well is some of the most comforting. It's
a lovely last 10 minutes. He did, make an effort to pick us back up after he had dropped us back down there, Paul. Because it gets rough there at the end. The fall is a fall for sure. Oh
yeah, you're green.
Yeah, look at that. Oh God! Here, you want to pause it real quick? I'll see about a new camera.
It's probably one of my favorite genres.
is the rise and fall Coke movie?
I fucking love Goodfellas. Obviously, I love Casino, and Casino is a bit like this, where the darker stuff is darker, and the highs aren't that high. Well, No, they are very, very high. They're just in this seedy world, aren't they?
Well, the thing is, I think of these movies almost like the modern tragedy in the way that like Othello or Antigone, what Othello and Antigone were to their generations, to their time period. I feel like these movies fit that niche where you've got like the tragic hero who's, his qualities and traits don't necessarily change throughout the movie, but we see how they bring him to the heights of success and also how those same traits bring him to the very bottom of what
Yeah.
life has to offer.
And well, I'll just say it again. My perfect idea for a TV channel is the first half of Rise and Fall movies. I don't know how many times I have to say this for people to just make it. Like this, just cut just before.
Just string the first 45 minutes of all these movies together.
And it would just be this glorious, this is wonderful. Let's get into, we talked broadly. I undeniably, this is like my number 5 favorite film. I love it. It's definitely my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I don't know if it's the best. It probably isn't the best. I would say There Will Be Blood is this crowning achievement of, well, anyway, we'll get there. But
I mean, he's had more practice at that point. But you like the raw, unrefined Paul Thomas Anderson.
I like raw, Hard Eight, Boogie Nights, Magnolia, sprawling epics, specifically Boogie Nights and Magnolia, because Boogie Nights and Magnolia are these close, well, Magnolia is 3 hours, these 3-hour heady dramas filled with characters, filled with intensity, that don't let up their pace for 3 hours and just
carried along.
Yeah, absolutely knock you out. Whereas then Punch Drunk Love is just 90 minutes, just this straightforward, it's these two people, which is great. I love all these movies. Then There Will Be Blood is this sprawling epic, but is one person. The Master is a whole different kettle of fish. But I we'll talk about it next week. But there is a part of me that just goes, what if he just kept making these big movies with Julianne Moore, with Philip Seymour Hoffman, with John C. Reilly, with Philip Baker Hall, with all these people that are in these multiple early movies? Is there a world where like that keeps reaping quality?
Paul Thomas Anderson brand, yeah. I don't know. I'm sure he's still got him in him. But I mean, I think it's very impressive for a movie with this many characters and this much going on and such a pace to keep you invested every step of the way. I think it's the mark of a great filmmaker, and I think it's why people love him. I think it's why you can see in his very first 2 movies, he's already an incredibly promising director, because for 2 first attempts, these are pretty, I mean, even if they're just incredible movies, just good movies flat out.
And of course, all these characters and all these strands come together in a lovely, perfect bow here, and nobody can deny that this film works, whether they like it or not. It works. Whereas with Magnolia, there is this huge conversation of, does this work at all, or is this just a big mess with a disastrous final 30 minutes? But we will see. I don't know where you're going to land, but anyway,
we'll see.
10-minute stretch. Let's get to the body of the film. I mean, this is also one of those movies where literally you were sat next to me. There was a period where I was just never stopped writing, and I'm just like 10-minute stretch. Okay, then this is the best single minute.
You were typing throughout the whole movie.
It's just one of those things where, like, the 10-minute stretch, opening one shot, hiring Eddie, and that glorious one shot, best of I Love the Emotions. It's just an absolutely electric opening. I don't know whether you thought.
I thought it was great. I loved following Jack through the club at the beginning and then following him through his house at the end. I thought it was a really great way to kind of bookend the picture. I thought those were nice.
I like the kind of porn setup of him actually hiring Eddie. It is kind of like a porn setup. Oh, you've come out to the middle of nowhere, what do you want to be? And it's this, if you want to see me jack off, it's 10, but if you just want to see it, it's 5. And so you didn't even do an IMDb quick synopsis read before we started watching?
No, I figured it'd be best if I just go in knowing absolutely nothing.
Oh, that is good. So you were like, oh, this is about porn. When did you realize that? When he said, I make exotic films.
I got the point that it was going to be a movie about the porn industry pretty much as soon as Jack solicited Eddie for. It becomes pretty clear very quickly. I think it's very clear what Burt Reynolds is as he walks into this club.
Yes, Burt Reynolds as Jack Horner. Let's talk about these two, because this is, of course, a grand ensemble. However, these are our two leads, I would say. I mean, obviously, Burt Reynolds was
Mark
nominated.
Wahlberg and
Burt Reynolds was nominated Best Supporting, but obviously, it's more or less a co-lead. Let's talk about Burt first. So, I'm going to mention this here. We're going to have the debate of whether it would be better later. Originally, Paul wanted Warren Beatty. And then cast Burt Reynolds. Let's talk about Burt Reynolds' actual relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson and his time here, because there are so many different angles. Like, there was undoubtedly a big fight on the day of them shooting the weirdly enough, the fight between you know, I'm ready to shoot. It's my big dick. I'm ready to shoot.
What was the fight about? I guess Burt Reynolds just finally decided, I don't like this movie.
I think it was the way that it's been reported on is he thought he was a cocky little kid, which by all accounts Paul Thomas Anderson was in these early days. He thought he was this cocky little kid. You know, I'm this star, and again, I'm this star of the past 20 years, and now I'm here in this independent movie. And as you talked about, we watched the first half with previous and future guest Rhian Helms, and so she literally watched the first half and was like, "Oh, this is lovely." Well, she didn't say that, but actually no, because she did stay for a little bit of the 80s, so she didn't even get God Only Knows. She just had an absolute, she just had an absolute sad ending. But she, you were both talking about how the perspective of we're watching it now, with this being a critically acclaimed movie, and we can see that it works. I'd say that reading the script itself, some of that perspective must have been there. You can't read this script and not think and not see some grain of quality.
And we've got, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. And for Burt Reynolds, I don't know if it's this kid's second movie. Like you said, he's been a leading man in Hollywood for decades at this point. The scripts that he's had before this one are not like this.
No, they're not good for a start, but anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, some of his lines in this were, I don't know. I think there's definitely something good in the script. Whether or not that's what Burt Reynolds was looking at, we'll never know, essentially. I can see how Burt Reynolds would be concerned working on this picture, though.
Yeah, Reynolds did not get along with that. This is just Wikipedia. This is the general broad facts. Reynolds did not get along with Anderson whilst filming. That's well known. After seeing a rough cut of the film, Reynolds fired his agent after he recommended it to him. That's true. Despite this, he won the Golden Globe Award and was nominated for the Oscar. Later, Anderson wanted Reynolds to star in his next film, Magnolia, but Reynolds declined. I don't know in what role. And then in 2012, Reynolds denied rumors that he disliked the film and called it extraordinary, and saying that his opinion of it has nothing to do with his relationship with Anderson. So then this is just before his death in 2000. Well, no, Burt Reynolds died in 2018. This is just before his death in 2017. This is when they're doing, he's doing press tours for Phantom Thread. And he talked about, this is Paul Thomas Anderson. I think that when Burt and I kind of got into it, it might have been the day, it may have been the day before or the day after, but it was a really tense 3 days on the set. The other 57 days were really fun and a lot of laughs, but there were these 3 tense days there in the middle where Mark was fighting with Burt, or in the film, looking back, it was really in the nasty part of the movie too, when really everything's kind of going wrong. When it's the good times and everybody's got their silk disco pants on and everything, we're having a ball. It's really fun. But when it starts to get cocaine glossy and hangovers, there's all that. There's blood, and the fun of it all is wearing off. It was the middle of the summer. It was really hot, and we were all stuck together in that house for a long time. And things were just, they were heated.
I mean, I can see that. And I hear, you know, you hear things about working with Mark Wahlberg, I guess.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, could have been also almost the same thing that Eddie was struggling with towards the end of the movie. Is here's Burt Reynolds, the guy on his way out of being a leading man in Hollywood, and here comes Mark Wahlberg. downplaying the literal sex appeal of the movie, essentially.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on this set that we'll probably just never know about that Burt Reynolds just about.
Yeah. No, oh god, I'm throwing my things around. I have the script here, David. I forgot to show you earlier. Oh, look at that. That's a sign from God. I flipped it open and there's Philip Baker Hall as Flog Gondoli. I'm a simple man. I like butter in my ass and lollipops in my mouth. You know what I love, David, that I can start quoting Boogie Nights to you now. Maybe you don't want that, but
as long as it's not that one line over and over again.
I'll mix it up. The film is dedicated to Ernie Anderson, his dad, who died during this, and then during, I believe he saw a rough cut, I can't remember, but then he was having serious cancer issues and I believe that then led to a branch of dementia, and then that becomes much of the thrust for the Tom Cruise segment of Magnolia. And those scenes, you're going to be begging for that custody hearing. You're going to be begging for Julianne Moore crying out against a wall. Hearing Jason Robards, a genuinely dying man, perform the role of a dying man, going, the fucking regret is the most, it shakes me to my absolute core. It was also dedicated to Robert Ridgely, who played the Colonel, who also died around the filming, who died around the release, sorry. Robert Ridgely, who is excellent in this as the Colonel.
As the Colonel, yes.
That's
and
another one.
We love the wrap up for his little story.
We do love the wrap up for his little story. I love this. It makes you feel guilty because in a world where we don't get the second half of the movie, the Colonel's one of my favorite characters, undoubtedly. He has the funniest moment in the entire film. It's Robert Ridgely's best performance. I hear you got a great big cock. May I see it? Thank you, Eddie. Just absolutely knockout.
I love that we stay on his face for that shot as well, and it just does not move for a solid 10-15 seconds.
This is another glorious thing with a movie that has a long length. Don't.
It's not the only thing.
Yeah, but it can breathe.
Yes.
I famously love, like, if a movie can justify its length, then I am so in for it to be longer. Like with this, we're going to talk about a couple of deleted scenes, and I'm just like, okay, we don't actually need these. Just put them fucking in. If I am there for more than 2 hours 20, make it 3 hours.
Just might as well throw it in there.
Also, when it comes to like DVD and Netflix, why the fuck not? And you know what really annoys me? When The Irishman came out and people were saying it's 3.5 hours long, and I was saying you're going to watch 10 hours of The Office and feel nothing. And it drove me. I was really an annoying person. You're not surprised by that. The audition. Well, it's a kind of audition. Roller Girls blowjob.
Quote unquote audition.
Then
I want to know what closet Burt Reynolds was watching the BJ from.
No, he was getting the report.
Yes. He was getting him comfortable with Roller Girl.
But more great reaction to the dick there from Roller Girl. And then the big gasp before she goes down. Brilliant sound design of just that gasp of breath. Just ingenious sound design in this movie. Into the diner. I've got a dream, you know, and I've made them too. They're a lot of fun. Everybody has a few laughs. We all fuck each other's brains out and we go home. It's great. But I have a dream. And this is Tarantino's biggest problem with the film.
Ooh, Tarantino's problem with the film.
Because Jack Horner was based off multiple people. All of these people were based off multiple people. But one of the main people that Jack Horner was based off was a real life porn director. And Tarantino's biggest issue is that he doesn't think it's believable or truthful, or they mean the same thing. He doesn't think it works that Jack Horner is this. I don't know if fools. No. I don't know if fools naive of I'm going to make Citizen Kane, because the real life person who he was based on was like, no. These are porn films. We're trying to make really good porn films but we're not trying to make, you know, whereas
Well,
Jack,
sure, but then
yeah.
we don't have any reason to care about. I guess Jack needed something more. Yeah, in real life, the guy who he's based off of knew that he was making porn films and wasn't out to make art, but that's not interesting, I guess, for a movie. Or it can be, and maybe that's the movie that Quentin Tarantino would have written. I think he likes to really give all of his characters all kinds of seedy reasons for doing things. I don't know. I thought it worked. I kind of liked that element of Jack's character. Made him interesting. It's like, yeah, he's a jaded, experienced porn director who still wants to make art. I don't know.
Also, he's a bit of a he is not a square, but like he's a bit green, isn't he? Like doggy doo doo. He barely swears.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
He drinks 7-Up at the diner. Like you know.
I thought they were great touches for him, and I think it was part of what made him one of my favorite characters in the movie. One, because I just love Burt Reynolds, but also because he just had this really neat thing going of he's a director for porn movies. He lives in a world of vice, but he has all these little. He drinks 7-Up at the club and wants to make art and doesn't swear. You know, I don't know.
Of course, it makes it very effective when he pounces that guy. Fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah, when he does break, and he does have these moments where he embraces like the seedier elements of life. But I thought it was very clear that Jack was supposed to be kind of this anchoring element in this world of like his house is the house that it's safe to come and do cocaine at and have your parties, and like he has the vice all around him, but he never lets it get out of control in the way that younger, more inexperienced people seem to, or the men around him, as we see, you know, let happen.
Fucking Colonel. Which leads into Roller Girls couch sex. Are we gonna fuck?
Yes.
Oh yeah. You're officially out of lines, Jack. I just love this. I intentionally didn't quote along because this is one of your first watches and we were doing a podcast about it. Like when we watched Misery, I quoted along because I knew that we weren't going to be podcasting. But again, all these little things, and I know that there is suddenly then 40 minutes of dead silence. This is literally like when we did Go with the Dragon Tattoo with Rian, and I was like, I love this movie so much, even though it's one of the darkest movies ever. It's just like, I don't know what clicks for me. I think it's the filmmaking and how well they've been paced and all these things.
That's the thing. I think if you're caught up in the elements of why the story is working so well, I think that's kind of like, if the story is working well, you're swept up in it and you don't notice all these little parts working together, unless, of course, you have watched every single movie in existence 10 times, in which case at some point, you know, the framework starts to become more apparent, I guess. So I
think another thing you're on about, which might be a lead to me, it being rewatchable for me, is that this was your first time and you didn't know how it was going to end. And I think you mentioned this with it being a comfort film for me, is that, oh wait, yeah, I can't remember seeing this on a first time. I probably too was worried that everybody was just going to get fucking shot and like the fight, and it was just going to get worse and worse and worse. Like it was that thing of like, I know that we're going to get the Rahad Jackson scene, and I know that we're then going to go into God only knows. So I can have a sort of relaxation, whereas you were like, oh my God, is this just going to keep getting worse?
It's going to just be 45 minutes of downhill turns until everyone's dead and Jack's left alone in his sad, empty 70s house.
Yeah. Which also, you would not be surprised at all, would be one of my favorite films.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You would eat that up if that was how the movie ended, because you could empathize with Jack and be like, that's going to be me one day.
Oh, yeah, I hate life. Meeting everybody at Jack's, like Jack's first party out. This is where we meet John C. Reilly properly and talk about this, because this was like your big favorite part of the film.
John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg's relationship in this movie might be one of my favorite parts of the movie. I think scenes with Jack and then the scenes shared between John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg were just fantastic. I loved something you never really get anymore is like John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg being compared to one another.
yeah, I can see that.
You know, it was just great. That whole first moment, that first interaction at the bar. Oh my god, just fantastic. They have such a nice chemistry in this, and they play off of each other so well. I don't know, I loved it.
I love that it's almost exactly the same dynamic. I mentioned this, I quoted it when we were watching it. As Step Brothers as, did we just become best friends? It literally has.
They're the last two brain cells, and they have everything in common, and they're just great. They're just great.
It is wonderful. I also have here, so then the porn shoot. Definitely one of the most awkward 10 minutes and most uncomfortable, especially when you're watching it with one of your good friends and his girlfriend. But I mean, definitely one of the best crafted, I would say. I love the way anytime it gets too hot or too uncomfortable, because it is sexy, it's like in Mad Men, it's involuntary, don't be flattered, but like, it's this sexy thing, but anytime it gets too sexy, too hot, we cut to the boredom.
We cut to the fact that everyone has seen this 1,000 times, and we're making a movie. Yeah,
it's sexy, cut inside the camera, look at the literal film going through the rail. This is a business. Yeah, I love it. And also we get those moments of Julianne Moore putting it on, like, okay kids, we gotta switch angles.
I thought it was great that we got to see kind of the dichotomy between like Mark Wahlberg's character, who at this point is very inexperienced and doesn't really know what's going into this, and Julianne Moore's character, who has been here, done this 1,000 times. I really liked kind of seeing the dichotomy between experienced porn actors and whenever we were bringing somebody new in to do things for the first time, in a way that it was just so natural and easy for the people that have been doing this to just roll right into that character, essentially.
And his constant focus on, does it look sexy? Do I look sexy?
Do I look cool? Yeah. He's so desperate for just approval, he wants so badly for people to like him, which I thought was great. And those scenes with his mom really do a very good job of showing us exactly why he is sucked into this world so readily, essentially.
Go ahead and fuck that little girl. Also in this porn shoot 10-minute stretch, we also have Scotty with the pen and doing the whole and doing you look really great. Yeah,
you look really great. I love your name. It's a great name.
I also speaking of the name, I love when Jack's like, okay Eddie, so you're gonna go over here, and then again very professionally, is it okay if you call me Dirk from now on? Of course. No, of course. My bad, of course. And I also love William H. Macy. Who's Dirk Diggler? He's the new kid, Eddie from the club. Good name.
Good name. No.
Then, oh my God,
the saddest little cuck in Hollywood.
Oh, poor little Bill. My next 10-minute stretches are straight to the ending. I guess I then have a lot of best single minutes. But my next 10-minute stretch is the New Year's Eve. Is Floyd Gondoli, is Eddie taking coke for the first time, he's meeting Todd, is Scotty's attempt to kiss, and Little Bill's double homicide suicide. Like you were talking, what was it? It was, it was the machine gun montage. The Commodore's machine gun, the song's called Machine Gun. It was the Porn Awards montage, and you were saying,
yes,
this is and then
this is the height, then it got even higher, and then it crashes.
And I was like, no, there's a very clear dividing line, and it is this New Year's Eve. Bye 70s, hello 80s, and let's start with Floyd Gondoli. Philip Baker Hall just coming in, just like absolutely
throwing the vibes right off.
Bringing in 4 of the dirtiest people you've ever seen. These are the real people. Okay. And he's got this slight southern twinge. And he gives the best monologue of the film, which we'll get to later. But then we get the coke, and this is where you're like, oh, okay, here we go. We're going down. We're going down. It's going down now. And that's the drip. That's the best part. What do you think of Julianne Moore in this movie?
Fantastic. Yeah. yeah, I really like Julianne Moore in this movie, and it's interesting to kind of see her as a young actress because I think a lot of what I've seen her in is her as an older woman now and playing a very different role. So it was interesting to see her. She was I kind of I liked her character, just the motherly elements and like the very clearly nurturing side that she had that she didn't really get any chance to express except for other performers with her essentially.
I
Yeah, I
think
thought that
go on.
just she was good. The way they the stuff with her child and sort of the justification for her being this nurturing sort of mother figure while also having sex with all of these people. It made sense essentially.
It's said so often now that it's even like a joke in New Girl of that it's not about sex and porn, it's about family. And like I remember this joke in New Girl of Coach loving to time things. And they do like a cutaway joke, and Zooey Deschanel goes, "See, it's not about porn, it's about family." And he goes, "Boogie Nights, 2:36." And because it is about family.
It's a family. It's a movie. It's not a family movie, but it is a movie about family. And I think nowhere was that shown more strongly than in the very ending. Not the very ending, but the last 10 minutes, our last follow through with Jack through his house. And we realize, oh, what the movie was about is how all of these people have come into this industry, leaving something behind, bringing all this sort of trauma from what they have left behind, escaping into this industry, and they have found this sort of second family in Jack's house, essentially.
That's probably the biggest theme between Boogie Nights and, well, no, actually, of Paul Thomas Anderson's entire career. Actually,
It's always about
is always about fucked up family relationships. The Hard Eight is Sydney becoming his dad. Specifically between men, Sydney becoming his dad. Boogie Nights, as we just talked about, it's a family. Magnolia, literally almost every single story is about a fractured relationship, child to father or mother. Punch Drunk Love, less so, but there is this wonderful running extended gag of his terrible sisters who keep bullying him. And maybe that's where all of his anger comes from. There Will Be Blood, again, an adopted son. And the relationship.
I abandoned my child!
I abandoned my child!
I abandoned my child! My boy!
Oh, God, what a great film. Bastard in a Basket. And then The Master, another pseudo father-son. Phantom Thread, not about more about relationships, but huge thing with his sister. And then Licorice Pizza, which on the surface isn't about family at all, but I saw a great tweet or something where they were talking about how one of the great other ways the film works is he is living with his single mother, and all of the episodic people we meet, all these insane male characters we meet along the way are all the different ways he could be a terrible man, all the worst father figures he could ever have. And that's an interesting element. I don't know if that's all the movie's about, but that's an interesting element to it.
But something interesting that I found in this movie, because it is a movie about family, and it was flawed relationships, but important and still meaningful. Like it was all about how these relationships aren't perfect and oftentimes have very damaging elements to them, but are just so necessary for these people. Sort of like it, just in the way it's basically it's a great movie about the people, how the people you love most can fuck you up the most, essentially.
They fuck you up, your parents. They may not mean to, but they do. They fuck you up, your parents, because they were fucked up worse than you.
Oh,
Fucking hell, what's his name? P something. Philip. Oh God, I'm gonna have to Google this.
Seymour Hoffman.
It's a poet. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. They fuck you up, your parents. Philip Larkin, that's his name. They fuck you up, your mum and dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were fucked up in their turn by fools in old-style hats and coats, who half the time were soppy stern and half at one another's throats. Man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can and don't have any kids yourself. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.
This is dark. We at the Alma, often at the pub where we both work, I worked a wake once, and the son was carrying around this Philip Larkin poems book, and I was like, I hope he didn't fucking read that.
I hope that's not that poem.
I was like, Jesus.
Now, in memory of my dad.
Yeah.
Wonderful man.
Yeah. Todd Parker, he just loved the poem. He just loved the poem. Todd Parker meeting Thomas Jane. I mean, we'll talk about Todd Parker when we get to Rahad Jackson. Scotty's attempt, Scotty's closeted nature and all that sort of thing. And just, I think this is where you get where Philip, Mr. Hoffman, just makes your movie 100 times better.
Yeah, he's great.
This is yeah.
And you're immediately connected with him.
This isn't some awkward gay panic scene. It's never played for laughs. It's uncomfortable, but then it is just absolutely heartbreaking. And I admire and adore Anderson not cutting away. How many times do we hear fucking idiot? 10 times? 20?
But it's great. It's oh God, it hits you so hard. And at first I was worried that was gonna. I was worried that it was basically gonna be like, gay guys always making a move on their straight friend when they least expect it. And it wasn't that at all. I thought it was handled really well, and it was tragic. It was a tragic story of kind of this. I mean, they were all searching for connection of some kind. They all desperately wanted someone to love them, essentially.
I also like another thing I think Hoffman does in this. I don't think he's that drunk. You sort of notice it beforehand. He's acting quite sober, and then after he gets pushed away after the kiss, suddenly he starts acting drunk more. And that very clearly through Hoffman's performances. I'm not drunk. I'm going to pretend to be drunk so that we can be fine in the morning.
Oh, it was so clear that he was like, oh God, I fucked. Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm fucked up. I'm just gonna say I'm too drunk and I couldn't handle and didn't know what was happening.
Very powerful stuff. And then Little Bill killing himself.
The saddest cock in Hollywood.
Anderson talks about this a lot. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're good.
So Anderson talks about this a lot going to the screenings, and it was with one particular one with Amy Mann, who wrote the song for Hard Eight and writes all the songs for Magnolia. And how he was sat at this screening with Amy Mann, and there were all these teenagers in, and he saw him going to the car, and the teenagers started screaming and going, yeah, yeah, and clapping, and then he was like, oh no, I've ruined my movie. I've what the hell is happening? They
were cheering for him.
Yeah, they were cheering, and then he shoots them both dead, and they keep cheering louder and louder and louder, and then he shoots himself, and then that absolute dead silence for the 80s title card.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I thought it was great, and we kind of made the joke while we were watching, like, he always points out that it's his wife. Why does he keep saying that? And it was because it really hits when he just closes the door and doesn't say a fucking word and just walks out to the car and back, and that happens basically. It is one of those things where it's like, it should be important that it's his wife, and he feels that it should be important when he says that, and it's never ever treated as important. So
it's like saying it's not fair. I mean, people say that all over this movie. I mean, Buck says it's not fair. And Melora Walters pitches in, we did all the right paperwork. He goes, no, it's okay. It's not fair. This is not fair. They all say that repeatedly. And it's like when people say, this isn't fair, as if anything can change. And it's like, that's my wife. This isn't fair. Nothing's going to change unless you make the change. And there are many ways that you can make that change. One of them is a healthy divorce. The other is to resort to absolute violence and suicide. Yeah. And really party pooper. I mean, come on, Bill. Everybody was having a nice time.
Ruined Ruined everyone's 1980.
Yeah. On the commentary, Paul Thomas Anderson refers to this moment as everything's okay. You know, what's that phrase? Everything's all right until someone gets hurt or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what that scene is. It's
all
like,
fun and games till someone pokes their eye out.
yes, and of course, you didn't see it as all fun and games. You saw it as majoritively uncomfortable. But for me, it's more of a straight line. I find it all fun. I have to say,
you know, it is definitely like a sharp turn. Obviously, like the beginning of the movie is very different from the end. But I did, you know, it was always high times, high life, living it up, living our best lives, with a constant undercurrent of, but there's something really fucking wrong that no one is addressing, essentially. Like all of these people are living the absolute height of excess and indulging in their success, but they all have unresolved issues that are going to very clearly become problems at some point. And it's always dropped in that these issues are still there, and then we watch everyone not deal with them. So it's just this building dread of like, yes, everyone's having a great time, but there's all this stuff that's been alluded to that no one has done anything about, essentially.
And just the inherent darkness of the porn industry. I think that is that undercurrent. Whereas crime is often glorified to such an extent now. It's like murder. It's like, you know, we don't really grimace when we see murder on screen anymore, really. But there's something about that sexual element that is still dirty and is still perverse, and is even more perverse and uncomfortable when you're sat next to your good friend and his girlfriend. Big pool fight, which we talked about. It's my big dick. State of California, Jack. I know where I am. For me, it's the comedy that keeps me coming back. I know what you're saying. That it's fleeting comedy.
There are lots of funny moments. I think. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't draw the movie itself draws me in. I'm gonna be repulsed by a lot of what's happening either way because it's set up to be that way. But yeah, no, the comedy is well done and it's always thrown in at just the right moments. It never feels like they ham-fisted a joke in. I feel like
it's all very human. It's all very funny. And then him being a recording star. You got the touch, dude.
Oh, it was just, hey, good attempt there, Mark.
Yeah, attempt.
That was a fun bit.
That's Michael Penn. That's Sean Penn's brother. That's the composer of
Yes.
the pieces of music in Hard Eight, as well as the pieces of music. The piece of music in this. That's one of my changes. That score, that big top score. It's called the Big Top. That circus score. That dun dun. It's just so beautiful and great. I want it in the film more, and I want more music. Of course, this is also a wall-to-wall incredible 70s soundtrack, so you've got to weigh it up. But I love that one piece, and it's used so perfectly, as well as the tolling bells of Hard Eight. I
imagine a lot of that budget that would have been spent on composing original music for everything probably got spent on hiring Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. And it's the right choice. It's the right choice. Compared to what montage? The Roberta Flack song. This is another one of those extended dark montages where they're at the record store talking to Robert Downey Sr. And it's like, that's an MP, not a YP. Oh, sorry, that's a YP, not an MP. My problem. Whilst you've also got Buck outlining his loan. And you were like, oh, you said, I'm glad he's going to get a happy ending. Here it is. And then you slowly, I saw the smile slurp off your face of just, oh no, even this is going to get fucked up too. As well as also seeing the first time we're shooting on video. Is he going to fuck me in the ass? Is that what you want? It'd be nice. Fuck her in the ass. Yeah. And it's just like, what are we? And then later again with the two ladies in the hot tub. And again, visually we're reminded of that great hot tub scene earlier. It was just like, oh, the good times. But now he's talking about, what about when we need to, no, you just keep shooting, Jack. It's video, we just keep shooting. And there's just you're just shooting it. And then also the best part of this, the absolute mania and horrid sadness and melancholy of Amber and Roller Girl just shooting coke back and forth and back and forth.
Shooting coke and both being absolutely miserable and
Yeah.
leaning on each other for support that neither one of them can provide, really.
And you know, do you miss Dirk? He's so fucking talented, that bastard. Do you miss him? Yeah, I miss him. Yeah, I miss him. I miss
But
Dirk.
that was the moment that I think that scene was a moment where I realized, like, oh, that's like they're supposed to be a family sort of thing. They're their own little fucked up
Well,
family.
I mean, I love you, Mom. I'm gonna call you Mom again,
Yeah,
and you just say yes. You just say yes. You're gonna be my mom.
It becomes extremely clear, like, okay, this is the family that they've built for themselves. But that was definitely the first scene where I was sort of like, oh, okay, yeah. They're a family. They've built their own little world here.
And then yeah, like best 10-minute stretch. This isn't my favorite scene, but the absolute low point 10-minute stretch: the hand job, gay bashing, the donut shop, and the experiment. The fucking video. We're gonna try something new. It's like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, it really drops you down pretty low at that point.
I think it's innovation. I think that's what Jack wants, is that he was innovative and he felt like a filmmaker with using film and putting stories into the porn. That was quite innovative. He wants to be innovative again. And this is the way that he can be innovative with this. And
is doing something that no one else is doing.
And in his head, he is such a focused filmmaker and all these things that he has thought of 100 ways that this could be the best thing they ever make. And he hasn't thought of the one thing that is obviously going to go wrong, is that he is not a trained performer. Never mind the fact that which is maybe a change.
The worst possible. I really didn't feel like that was necessary
at all.
That Roller Girl was forced to have sex with her high school bully.
I think it's the fact that I'm talking about the bully. I think the sex is necessary, and I think like because we're in this absolute low point thing, and I think also you need to show bad porn. You need to show like this is the whole film they're talking about. We're actors, no, we're performers, and we get to see what bad porn looks like, where they're not doing it sexily, and it's you know, it's just sex. Well, in this case, it's quite
cinematic.
Yeah. And well, tell that to Paul Verhoeven in Basic Instinct. But it's that I think him literally being the bully is ridiculous. I think they could have kept the entire dialogue and just cast a different actor.
Absolutely, it could have been like you could have shot that exact scene had the sex happen. I meant more. I just thought the fact that it was her tormentor from high school was maybe a little.
I also think keep the dialogue of the high school thing. Just have a different actor. How many people are in a fucking high school? Yeah, I can accept that they have randomly picked up one of 500 guys. I'm not going to accept that they've picked up the fucking bully.
The dude who like made fucking
I love sucking cock. I love cock. It's just like, I mean, you didn't notice him. I had to say it.
But, yeah, I didn't realize it till you pointed it out.
And it does work in that sense of it's been so long that we've somewhat forgotten about him. And the bullying is such a horrid, wicked little moment that it does stick at the back of your mind. But also, it's completely ridiculous.
It works. It works. It makes that whole scene just that much more awful to endure.
Yeah. What a wonderful life you made for yourself.
So I don't know. Although I did take no small amount of satisfaction in watching her stomp his face into the pavement with her roller skates.
Well, this is the thing. I watched it with a group of people like just before lockdown, and maybe it's a specifically. No, I don't want to say specifically female. Maybe it's specific to that female, but she was like, "Yay!" I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, this guy's horrible, but what the fuck? This isn't good.
No, it certainly wasn't. I wasn't like, "Oh, yay, good things."
Oh yeah.
It was more just like it was more just a sense of grim satisfaction in a way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I didn't want to watch that guy get away. Essentially, I didn't want him to get away with everything he had gotten away with. And if it had just ended with him getting out of the car, insulting all of them, and leaving, I would have been really disappointed. I guess that scene wouldn't have landed as nicely.
No, I think it's I think Bert's beating's enough. The roller skates are fucking brutal.
Yeah, that's where it gets awful. But it gives her
some onus. Yeah. No, I agree. You don't get to fuck me. You don't get to fuck me. You don't get to disrespect me.
But it's also a turning point for her. I think it's she gains her own self-respect there.
Yeah,
like that's the spark. That was the last straw that starts the spark that makes her go back and get her GED and make more of a life for herself. I think she's just kind of allowed herself to be treated this way up until now because that's all she thought she was worth, essentially.
Yeah, and also we in the dark scenes, in the videotape scenes, we never see the porn people we know. It's all these new people that Floyd keeps bringing in. We never see like Amber, or we never see Roller Girl in these positions of like this videotape horrible fucking, which I think is interesting. And it makes me think, did we just not see that, or did they not want to be a part of it at all and just stuck around the home and saw all this happening? There we go. And my other 10-minute stretch, Raha Jackson. Here we go, man.
Raha Jackson.
Just this incredible little manic, crack-fueled, coke-fueled Tarantino.
Something else, that scene. It feels like it's from a whole nother world almost when they walk into that house.
And you, again, we talked about this with the title card. It was the first thing, like, long way down. Sorry, just one more thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's that sort of knowingness. And I'm sure that there are 100 people who see that title card and go, fuck you.
Oh yeah. No, it's cheeky. It's so cheeky. And it's basically, Paul Thomas Anderson's little wink at like, you see how fucking awful this is now? Watch this sort of thing. It was fantastic. Fantastic.
And we'll talk more about that as we go on. But then we of course end with God Only Knows, and I mean the big line, Julianne Moore, we all need to start over again. And everybody gets a pseudo happy ending, and then that glorious final walkthrough with Jack. Just absolutely wonderful. Are you a Love Actually fan, David?
I am a Love Actually fan. Yes,
I fucking hate Love Actually.
I fucking love that movie so much.
And do you know, I hate it for many reasons. But do you know another reason I hate it?
It's because they use that song.
It's because they use God, and it's not because they use God Only Knows. It's because they use God Only Knows as their final closing happy montage, don't they?
They do.
It's fucking bullshit.
It's almost like it's a good song for a final happy montage.
But it's bullshit. You cannot steal. How do you feel about this? Because I get rather annoyed. Like, we've recorded the Scream podcast recently as well. And I have a great hatred for the use of Red Right Hand in Peaky Blinders. That is Scream's song. They used it in the first 3 movies and in the 5th. It's iconic. For me, that is Scream's song. Tarantino agrees with me. On my CD of Pulp Fiction, what can I say? I am like Tarantino in many ways.
It's all right. It's all right.
But in the CD, there's an interview with him, and he talks about his anger of the use of "Be My Baby" in Dirty Dancing. And he goes, "No, man, that's Mean Streets, man. They used it in Mean Streets, and you can't use that again." And I kind of feel that with God Only Knows in this, Red Right Hand in Scream.
I'm sorry, it's a popular song. It's going to get used in more than one fucking movie.
But used in the exact same way.
Yeah. Oh my God. Come on. Movies use songs as shorthand sometimes, and it's true. It's just some songs are meant for the openings of movies. I mean, good God, how many movies open with Mr. Blue Sky?
I can't think of one other than Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah. Good point. I haven't seen enough movies to challenge you on this, I guess. I'm sorry. It's one of those things that's it's only going to matter to people that have seen enough movies to know where the original song is.
But we'll be talking about ELO later, actually, at the Electric Light Orchestra. Tom Swindley's specific favorite part of the film. Just clear the deck, David. Just you can mute your.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Right. The Big Top theme. Michael Penn's The Big Top theme, opening the film. The first shot, cut to Boogie Nights, the scene is absolutely electric. Heather Graham's booty wiggle in time with is incredible. Little Bill dropping his keys and then picking them back up is so sad. Will you close the door? He looks like Val Kilmer. Oh, don't stab, big stud. The dad kissing Joanna Gleason on the face. Shave if you're going to do that, for God's sake. Cheryl Lynn, when he's pouncing on Cheryl Lynn's bed, and you're just like, this guy is literally a child. The deep breath before Roller Girl goes down. In the Mr. Torpedo area, in the fun zone, until they spurt that joy juice. I like that. The fade from Jack sitting watching the fucking to the mum sitting there. The cut from door to door of the door slamming on the mum's house and the door opening at Jack's. What a perfect transition. Oh, the Colonel absolutely talking to the coke, the guy who's holding the OD chick. Oh, do you think so, Doctor?
Oh, do you think you need to maybe you need to get some new shit, huh?
What do you think? What do you think? Maybe that means you need to get some new shit. What do you think? The Colonel's reaction to the cock, we've already talked about it. Scotty with his pen. Amber waves in the shooting of the film. I need to check something. This is a giant cock. Great stuff. How bored everybody is when they're shooting. Going inside the camera, not enough film. I love Becky Barnett at the party, muttering her name because she knows that half the guys she talks to are going to react and go, oh, fuck. My name's Becky Barnett. I love it. The karate kick, my favorite moment in the entire film, is after the rock and roll award speech, and it's the karate kick, the magnet and steel theme coming back in. Dun, 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 doo, doo, doo. After that, that's the kind of moment of the film. Melora Walters' painting of Dirk. Buck dressed as an Earth, Wind and Fire dancer. Little Bill locking his car after getting his gun, even though he knows he's going to shoot himself in the head. The silent Colonel on the other side, you know, am I your friend? Am I your friend? That was dark. That was pretty dark. Robert Downey Sr. saying, that's an MP, not a YP. Cut to Amber crying outside the wall. How many times? What was your last offense and what was your charge? Straight cut to her crying. The tolling bells coming back. And your fucking films suck now anyway. The blood on the white suit. And this is for the Christmas. The firecrackers. Every single time anybody jumps at the firecrackers. Amber becoming a director, I enjoy. The Colonel getting fucking hit up in the prison and just crying and covered in blood. Shut the fuck up, Colonel. Love it. And the little Bill painting and Jack kissing. Thank you very much. I take my bow. David, weirdly specific favorite parts, those tiny little details.
Is there anything left for me to? you took them all.
That's the joy. That's the joy.
Say butter in my ass and a lollipop.
David, I'm saving that for best line. I'm going to give you the entire monologue. Don't you worry.
Yeah. No, those are. Yeah, you pretty much got all of mine as well.
Best soundtrack corner. We split this two ways: best use of a song and best song full stop. Here are my nominees for best song full stop. Living Thing by ELO, 99 Love Balloons, Afternoon Delight, Driver's Seat, and Jesse's Girl. And the winner is, go on, what's the best song full stop of those for you?
I mean, I really loved the way they used Jesse's Girl.
We'll get to that in the next category.
99 Luft Balloons is just one of my favorite songs anyway, so.
It's just an incredible song. I love how in the German version, 99 Love Balloons, there is obviously no translation for Captain Kirk. Flügen, Captain Kirk. I'm going to go for Living Thing. Best use of a song. The nominees are Best of My Love, The Emotions, God Only Knows, The Beach Boys, Magnet and Steel, Walter Egan, Feel Too Good, The Move, and Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield. 3, 2, 1. Jesse's Girl.
Oh, what's the one that's building up? Fuck. Where he's like, wait, I love this. The build up.
That's Sister Christian by Night Ranger.
That's my favorite use of the song. Wait, hold on. I love this fucking build.
Which is me whenever I hear a song I like.
You're basically just a cokehead, but slightly more under control.
Oh, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. Is my entire energy not that of a cokehead not on coke?
A cokehead that keeps an immaculate schedule.
But I do still have the what am I saying? Somebody's just, Ava Robinson's, this is going to come out a year from now, but she's just sent me that apparently Ana de Armas was the second choice to play Catwoman in the new Batman movie. And now I just want to die. Why weren't we given that? But anyway, that's beyond the point. Oh, yeah. I have great scheduling. Wait, no, what am I talking about? Oh, no, me being a cokehead. I also have the coke thing of the minute somebody says an idea, I'm like, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. And I come up with the whole thing. Fine example. Let's do a podcast before you leave, Tom. We're going to do 10.
Let's do all of the Paul Thomas Anderson movies, every single one.
Best single minute. Before I say mine, do you have any nominations?
Best single minute. I do love Burt Reynolds in the kitchen with Mark Wahlberg there. Thought that was great. Mark Wahlberg's freak out and the fight between him and Burt Reynolds.
Yes, very nice. Yeah. State of California, Jack. I know where I am.
And just I think probably the first meeting between Mark Wahlberg and John C. Reilly making the drink. John C. Reilly. I love John C. Reilly pouring in a shot of rum. Doesn't move the bottle up to his mouth, moves his head to the bottle, which I thought was like, oh, that's just such good like physical work there.
It all feels very improvised, and it's not. I've read the script,
right?
But I mean,
that's
filmmaking.
Why that's how you know they're amazing actors. That it all feels spur of the moment and like something these actors would do, but it's all very much choreographed.
I love film. Best single minute: Julianne doing coke and calling her son with the sage underneath it. Absolutely sad. Little Bill with his wife the first time, again with the sage under it. Very sad. Book at the stereo store where he just throws in quads per channel.
And the country music that he blasts out of the stereo.
And the absolute just racist piece of shit owner. What kind of brother are you listening to country music? And then he's like,
gonna buy a stereo to play that country western shit.
You know, I brought you in because I thought you'd bring some nice pussy in the place, and you have. Also, I don't know about you. Who's gonna go to buy a stereo because your favorite porn star works there? Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
You're gonna go buy a stereo of your favorite porn stars in there selling it. Your favorite male porn star. Name your favorite male porn star, Thomas Carruthers.
I think this is a great segment that I should just throw in like the middle of like Sweeney Todd next week with Will.
Yeah, just cuts to you and me. What's your favorite male porn star?
Yeah. What's your favorite lyric, Will, of Sweeney Todd? Well, I do love shepherd's pie peppered with actual shepherd on top. Okay, who's your favorite porn star to watch fuck? Best use of a cock, best cock, full stop. We're being filthy. It's a filthy film.
Oh yeah, how did I not throw in favorite minute? The very end with Mark Wahlberg alone in his dressing room, and the giant middle finger from, or not. We finally get to see the cock. We finally see the cock after 2.5 hours of everybody else reacting to it. We see the dick at the very end.
This may be the weirdest tangent I ever go on. I love the use of the word cock. It's used a lot in Magnolia as well.
It's used about every 10 fucking sentences in this movie.
Where the fuck is Ringo? Dirk stands up, unzips his pants, and lets his cock hang out. He looks at the reflection of it in the mirror. I'm a star. 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 I'm a big, bright, shining star. He puts his cock back in his pants, does a final karate kick, and walks out of the room, closing the door behind him. End. Yikes. Wow. If that is the last line of your script, just bow down and take the Oscar right now.
I'm a star. I'm a star. I'm a big, bright, shining star.
Have you seen Good Will Hunting, David?
I have, yeah.
Do you want to have the debate now of is 2 points? Let's do the easiest one first. Robin Williams deserved to be Best Supporting Actor, didn't he? Over Burt.
I would say, yeah, his performance in Good Will Hunting was,
very close second there.
Yeah.
Did Matt Damon and Ben Affleck deserve to win Best Original Screenplay over this?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think this has a better screenplay.
I think this beats it. I mean, Good Will Hunting, very close second. Very, very close second. And also, are you ready for this one? I'm going to throw the hen to the chickens. David, who's my favorite actor of all time?
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson wins this year. You don't have to be scared. Jack Nicholson wins this year for as good as he gets. I would have given it to Matt Damon for Good Will Hunting.
You would have given Matt Damon over Jack Nicholson for that.
Yeah. And I would have given Jack Nicholson his third Oscar for About Schmidt.
I mean, to be fair, Matt Damon had a lot more to, I guess, overcome. And that wasn't his first. That was his first movie, Good Will Hunting, wasn't it? Or
Wasn't
it was
his
the
first movie. It was the first script.
It was the first script.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he was just less established than Jack Nicholson was at the time, and had a lot.
Well, yeah,
more
that's another. Yeah, that's another.
He had a lot more to
factor,
overcome as a lead actor in that movie than Jack Nicholson would.
2 eggs over easy. Bring the bake. 6 strips of bacon. Oh, you're having 6 today. I do love As Good as It Gets. I take a man. Nobody's messing up with it. Backroom blowjob, we talked about. Mum kicking him out. God, fuck that little girl. Amber's son calling at the party with Lonely Boy playing. Is there a Maggie here? Is there a Maggie? A Maggie? Maggie? And at this time, we don't actually know that she's named Maggie. And I think on the first couple of times, I just completely went past me, even though we then cut straight to, I wonder where his mum is.
That escaped you.
Maybe it's because I was a small child watching it, which is another factor which will.
Yeah, no, I thought that was one of those moments when you're in the good times where it's like there's the unresolved shit running underneath everything that no one is dealing with, essentially.
Yeah. No, very good stuff. I also have here, little Bill fooled around and fell in love. My wife is on the driveway, Kirk, with an ass in her cock.
Yeah, with an ass in her cock. I think that was one of my favorite lines. My wife is in the driveway with an ass in her cock.
I mean, it's not gonna be, but just put that on my tombstone, David. I'm gonna write a will for you, just for you, to show my mum if I die prematurely, and just see what her reaction is. The hot tub scene. The hot tub scene, obviously leading into the name of Dirk Diggler, but starting off with, do you want to hear my poem? You and me, down the love tree. The honey's so sweet, but the bees won't sting because you love me.
That was great, man. Did you write that? They're my favorite last little 2 brain cells. It's very much like a Step Brothers kind of dynamic.
No, big fan. Next, Boogie Shoes and doing the shirts montage. Then I love little single minute, which I'm calling Dirk the Director, where he's talking with Jack and they're talking with Roller Girl about they're doing the positions, and he's like, well, if I throw a leg over, then we can go straight into doggy style. Would that work for you? Yeah, that's fine. And then, is the waterbed okay? Is the movement on? Is this okay, Kirk? And he's like, yeah, I like it. I like the waterbed.
It was really good at showing that he's a natural. He's a natural performer. He's good. Like, it not only is he's not just being bigged up because he's got a big dick. Not anyone, but he's got a big dick. And if that was the only thing that made him special, no one would give a shit about his character. But the fact is, he's a good performer. He's a good porn actor. And
ending, of course, with, do you want me to do a Spanish accent?
Do a Spanish, yeah. Oh, great stuff.
Disco break choreographed. That's like absolute.
Yeah, it was the
height of the mountain stuff.
Which is why I thought this is where the crash comes, because I was like, how do you get any higher than a choreographed disco break?
And also, it feels like one of those things where it's like in another movie, I'm just like, this could ruin it, or this could be like the scene that I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this here for?
But it's just realistic enough. Like, it's not this incredible. I mean, I would have, of course, loved a 10-minute extended musical number, but anyway.
It's choreographed. It's choreographed, but it's not clean.
No.
Like, they're not amazing dancers. They're just dancing together.
Reed's interview about violence with his robe, with his cigarette, with his outrageous hair, and he's like, violence is in the world,
the plague on our society, and God, just great.
Just great.
I loved I loved that whenever you really sat down and talked with him or Mark Wahlberg, you get the sense like neither one of these guys has much going on upstairs, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's very good. The Colonel in Prison, very dark one, but very good. Best acting of Robert Ridgely and Burt Reynolds.
It was heart-wrenching. It was heart-wrenching watching him beg for just to have one friend, because he knows he's lost everything else, and all he wants is to know that he's got one person out there that still cares about him, and he doesn't even have that anymore.
I just love the little arcs of that scene of Bert finding out each thing. You know, like she was 15 going on 150, man. You got to believe me. And he's like,
Burt Reynolds go from, okay, how can we fix this? It's not that bad, to, oh, it's even worse. And yeah, I'm not your friend. And no, I can't.
And then just that final pathetic little nod of just, I'm your friend. And it's that acceptance of, I'm this fucking monster's friend. That's how it's always read to me. And Robert Ridgely, absolutely incredible. Just absolutely phenomenal performance there.
It didn't read for me as Burt Reynolds saying, yeah, I'm your friend. It read for me as Burt Reynolds basically like letting go of this person, essentially.
Yeah. Oh no, he's doing that as well. It's definitely all in there, but it's that,
I saw the little nod, but I don't know. I guess I saw that as basically just Burt cutting ties with this person right there. The heart-wrenching scene. Heart-wrenching.
Great stuff. Just a little one, Jack walking through the videotape factory with the big top music underneath, and just like there's the absolute machine. And then he goes in to see Ricky Jay, and he's like, how is it? It is what it is.
Video, yeah.
And I love there's a big focus with the videotape stuff, that it's really gratuitous and really violent against women. What's the first thing Dirk said when talking about Brock Landers? I watch these John Holmes movies and he's violent against women. You know, that's not sexy. I made the joke with you of like, see, he's a feminist. But like, you know, I think it's a clear choice of with the Brock Landers stuff, he wanted to be. What does he talk about in his interview? I've shown thousands of men how to make their wives come. I've shown that I've saved thousands of relationships.
He wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And he ends up being one in the porn industry, I guess. But like it ties back into like all of his creative decisions when he first gets onto the set and asking about like using a Spanish accent and stuff. It's like, it's clearly an actor. He's making creative decisions for his
great.
You know? It's fantastic.
The custody hearing scene with David Letterman, the counselor, outrageously looks like David Letterman. And then coming home to Jack, just that hold and that sadness. We all know what my favorite part of the God Only Knows montage is. Reed the Magician.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Oh, good
what
stuff.
The heck? Naughty, Candy.
I love that. That's where his arc goes. See, that was one of my favorite things spread throughout this film, was that John C. Reilly's character was a magician as well as a porno actor. I just love those little tidbits where he's doing a magic trick for someone. Dark Force, that favorite line, one of my favorite lines in the movie. But aren't you worried about the dark forces?
Yeah. No. It's an illusion. Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing, but aren't you scared about the oh, good stuff.
What am I doing? Best line. Talk about best line. Yeah. Throw a couple out. I've got so many. Jesus Christ.
That was definitely one of my favorites. The whole can I see it? I hear you have a huge cock. Can I see it?
I love.
Thank you.
I love. You live on the street? What? No. I thought Jack just said that you lived on the street. After Jack says, "This is the new kid on the street." You alive, man? I thought you were dead. Just a throwaway line in the thing. And the award for the best cock goes to, here we go again, Dirk Diggler. Oh, it's true. You are Brock Landers. Let's go get some of that Saturday Night Beaver. And then,
Let's go get some of that Saturday Night Fever.
and this is the film that I want them to remember me by. What other ones? I've got so many. I should delineate, but I'm not going to. This is my 5th favorite film. Here we go. I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema. In particular, I like to see people fucking on film. But I don't want to win an Oscar, and I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I like simple pleasures, like butter in my ass and lollipops in my mouth. That's just me. That's just something I enjoy. Call me crazy, call me a pervert. But there's one thing, and I'm going to do in this life, and it's going to make $1.01 in this business.
Ooh.
Thank you. I should have done that as my Bruford monologue. Hello, I'm going to be reading Floyd Gondoli from Boogie Nights. Call me a pervert, I don't care. You're not the boss of me, Jack. You're not the king of Dirk. I'm the boss of me. I'm the king of me. I'm Dirk Diggler. I'm the star. It's my big dick, and I say when we shoot. Love that.
You're fucking nothing without me.
Let me just check on something. This is a giant cock. We've done the poem. My fucking wife has an ass in her cock in the driveway, Kirk. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck does it look like I'm doing? Oh yeah. Oh, I've hit up most of these. Here we go. I want what's in the safe. I want what's in the goddamn safe. We're about to make film history here on videotape.
Videotape.
Hey, did you ever see Star Wars? Oh, about 4 times. People told me I look like Han Solo. Oh my God. The magic that's on those tapes, that's ours.
That belongs to us. You don't fucking own that, man.
That's it. That's all I have. What's the best line? And I think that was enough. What's the change? Now, you've talked about your general, like it not being one of your favorites, blah, blah, blah. Is there anything that you would change with the actual film? Anything that you think of
we already
flaws?
kind of, as far as the filming goes, no, I think it was a masterfully crafted piece of cinema. I guess, we've already touched on the one change I would make.
Yeah,
which is
picking up the bully. Are a couple of the music choices too on the nose? Afternoon Delight with a bit of afternoon sex and Mama Told Me Not to Come? Or do they work with this sort of headiness?
For me, I don't know. It doesn't feel too on the nose. I didn't really notice that the music is,
Let's talk about a couple of deleted scenes, because this is a movie where there's a couple. I showed you them because I want them in. There's a scene. Sorry? I don't know. I want to talk about Becky. The New Year, the Porn Awards party where the Porn Awards party, and we just sort of see everybody again. I want that one in. It's completely superfluous and it's probably a waste of everybody's time. But I want that in most definitely.
I don't think that would have hurt the film to have it in there, because at that point it's already a 2.5-hour movie. You might as well throw in that 30 seconds of shots of everybody having a good time.
Yeah, I most definitely. What am I even talking about here? Oh yeah, the Becky scene, the Becky deleted scene. So this is a scene that was removed for timing, for pacing, and to avoid giving somebody else another horrid fate. Now, I showed you this one. So this is a deleted scene with Becky Barnett, where we find out that she's now in a tragic domestic abuse relationship. Dirk is called, gets fucked up on coke, and speeds off and crashes his car, hence why they need the car fixing. We also find out that Johnny Doe died in a very similar car accident very recently. How did you feel? Is this a correct choice to have it out of there, or was this kind of needed?
I think cutting it was the right choice. There's already so many downward spirals happening, and it felt like Becky was just superfluous enough of a character.
Yeah.
And I would have just been like, oh my God, we get it. Everyone is fucking suffering. And I don't know. I feel like it would have been a little too much extra time spent on
misery.
The downward spiral. Like, we get what's happening essentially by this point, and there's more than enough of everybody else's lives going bad.
There's of course the very specific element of putting it in of Paul Thomas Anderson's research revealed so much domestic abuse in marriages born out of the porn industry, where both people weren't in the porn industry. So much violence there. However, I agree with you of like, oh, fucking everybody's miserable. But also this doesn't work for me because I watch this movie over and over again, and I'm like,
it's not necessarily that everybody would be miserable. It's just like I felt like the downward spiral scenes, what we saw of everything going wrong, and then going into the
Rahad
Jackson. Yeah, Rahad Jackson's scene. I felt like that was really well timed, right? We get a very sharp, dramatic, extended kind of downhill slope, and then we kick right into that scene.
Yeah.
And I think throwing in just one more scene with all of that happening would have just killed the pacing a little bit. It would have been like, okay, and now here's another extended scene of someone going through horrible things. And it just would have killed the pacing a bit, I think.
I agree. A few fun facts. Obviously, there's lots of research around this movie. Amber Waves' custodial problems were inspired by porn star Veronica Hart, who plays the judge during the scene in which the custody hearing is sorted. We've talked about Burt Reynolds and Paul's relationship. We're gonna talk about Leo.
Yeah, supposed to be in this, huh?
He was supposed to be Dirk, but he took Titanic instead.
Not a bad choice.
I think everything worked out. I think Mark Wahlberg's better than Leo.
For this part, yeah. For this part, yeah.
And I think obviously Titanic, Christ alive. Yeah. Because of a negative experience with the studio changing his film's title, Paul Thomas Anderson incorporated Boogie Nights into the opening shot of the film as a physical sign. I wish he did that with every movie. Just a big neon.
Puts the title of the movie in the first shot.
big neon, There Will Be Blood. When he appeared on Inside the Actors Studio, William H. Macy recalled that at the wrap party, Nina Hartley, who played his character's wife and is a real-life porn star, gave all the cast gifts of her own porn films. Macy's present was a copy of Nina Hartley's Guide to Anal Sex, 1996.
Hey.
Oh, go on.
That's a fantastic present to give.
Weirdly enough, I give people Nina Hartley's Guide to Anal Sex as a gift on all of my productions.
I thought it does show in the movie how all of these people have a very comfortable and frank relationship with all of these things that other people hold taboo. And they just aren't fazed by those things because it is sort of their world. And, it just kind of goes to show and giving a present like that,
And also it's like, it's that thing of, when it comes down to it, the only thing that changes that for so many people in this, and obviously there are different reactions to that, is marriage. But in what world do they think that marriage is going to completely change the way that everybody is? Electric Light Orchestra leader Jeff Lynne originally refused to let the song Living Thing be used in the film because he has a problem with sex and violence in movies. Lynne asked to see a screening of the film and loved it so much that he allowed the song to be used. That's what I like to hear. I love you, Jeff. After filming the devastating scene between Eddie Adams and his angry mother, Joanna Gleason was talking to Paul Thomas Anderson and asked him if the material reflected the relationship between Anderson and his own mother. Anderson became very quiet and did not answer the question. Gleason then put her hand on his shoulder and said, "You don't have to forgive her."
Oh.
Powerful stuff from the IMDb trivia page there. Anderson intended for further scenes with Rahad Jackson. After the bloody attempted robbery, the police would arrive and Rahad would gather his weapons, ready to go out in a blaze of glory. I think that should have been shot and should have been in the film, because this is just a huge glaring question of what the fuck happens next. Why doesn't Rahad go after them?
Not important enough. I think the whole,
okay.
I don't think it would have been necessary. Like Rahad Jackson's scene served its exact purpose, which was Mark Wahlberg's absolute lowest point, where he almost dies for a second time, and it's what convinces him, okay, I need to stop this. We just didn't, as fun as Rahad Jackson was, there's very much such a thing as like too much of a fun, quirky side character. And another
oh
scene,
yeah. Do you know what
Another
Liberace said, David? Too much of a good thing is wonderful. In 1970, oh, these are the taglines. Pick your best tagline, David. I'm going to give you 3. Everyone has one special thing. Okay. The life of a dreamer, the days of a business, and the nights in between. No. In 1977, sex was safe, pleasure was a business, and business was booming.
probably the third one. Although everyone has one special thing will make people chuckle once they watch the movie.
Yeah. We talked about Leo, we talked about Warren. Next thing is going to be 1990, then 2000. Where is everybody in the year 2000? Who is still alive? Let's go Dirk. I think Dirk looks pretty sober.
Dirk is still alive. I think he's sobered up by then, but he's like one of those aged porn stars, maybe trying to be what Jack was to him.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But not quite smart enough to pull it off in the way that Jack did, maybe.
Yeah.
Although who knows, after 20-something years in the porn industry, maybe he has kind of gotten to the point where Jack's at.
Yeah. I think Jack becomes a Floyd Gondoli type, except... Well, this is the thing. With the ending, are they making then a videotape movie that he is trying to put some art into?
Yeah,
or
Jack
is he sticking with film?
Well, I think the whole idea is that Jack, as it turns out, is smart enough to change with the times.
Yeah.
And we know he's someone who's going to continue innovating. But I think at the end of the movie, we basically just see a Jack who is just a grown with the industry. He's like, this is the reality now. If I want to continue making money and I want to continue making movies, I'm going to be doing it on VHS tapes, and
yeah.
And I don't know if he's necessarily happy about it or if he's still trying to make art or not, but we basically just get the point that Jack is someone who's going to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
Essentially.
1 minute, there's somebody knocking. Did Amber become a director of commercials or a director of porn or a director at all?
Yeah, I don't think Amber ever became a director. I think she made that one film, and then Jack very gently kind of.
She makes, because she does make the commercial. She does make Buck's commercial.
Who knows?
Make sure you come inside.
She does. I'll rescind that. Maybe she does become a better director as time goes on and gets better and better. But I think the whole idea is that it doesn't really matter what any of these people eventually become. The idea is that they're going to have each other, whatever they all become, essentially. As long as Jack's alive, at least, to give him a house to do it all in.
Does Reed become a David Copperfield level magician?
No.
David Blaine.
David Blaine is better than David Copperfield and always was.
Excuse me? But what about showmanship, David?
David Blaine's way better. He doesn't need showmanship because he can just walk up and blow your fucking mind without having to do any other shit and then walks away like he didn't just perform a miracle. Anyways.
Yes, as you were. Back to David. Back to
the way I saw it, watching the end, was whether or not they all go on to become big successes at all of their dreams. The point is that they've all moved on and have other things going. Like they're all going to be more whole and complete lives, essentially. Whether or not they become amazing successes, they're going to be more well-rounded and happy people, I guess. They're going to build lives for themselves, essentially.
Mm-hmm. I think, David, that's it for my 5th favorite film, Boogie Nights.
Really?
David, I've convinced. I know the answer, but I've convinced you, and this is now in your top 5 as well, isn't it?
Yes, naturally, because I'm someone who has top 10s, who has a top 10 movies. It's an excellent movie. It really is. It's fantastic. And yes, I could probably rewatch it now, knowing what I know. But yeah, that is an exhausting movie. Oof.
I cannot wait. for Magnolia.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
It's gonna be a time.
And you can catch it right here on the Carruthers, Leggetters,
my
and
God.
Friends podcast.
Guys,
Oh,
like and subscribe. Magnolia, 3 hours of depression
like and
grief.
subscribe, all 10 of you.
David, I'll let you know that we have. How many subscribers do we have?
One of them's me. So
we currently have. This is live. This might change in a year. A nice 40. Yeah, roll, man. 200 episodes, 40 subscribers.
we're gonna keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Some people say that these podcasts are shit, but I'm gonna keep trying to make these podcasts better. And you're gonna try with me. We're just gonna keep rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
Do.
All right, let's do our synchronized disco dance.
Here we go. Right, David. Okay, 3, 2, 1. This is genuinely going to the end. What is your favorite disco song? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Staying alive.
Great song. I think I'm going to go for Le Freak.
Da ba da ba da ba da da.